time for breath. Today is going to be chapters 1, 2, which are labeled as part 1, and then into chapter 3, which is labeled nose. I hope everyone's had a good few weeks. I have been holding true to my 1 chapter a week, reading and discussion with my friend Jessica, and let's get into it. So chapter 1 is called The Worst Breathers in the Animal Kingdom. That would be Homo sapiens, us. And in terms of the ratio of mouth breathing to nasal breathing, which filters, right, and clears things up and there's just a lot of more health benefits with nose breathing. And so James Nestor, the author, he talks about his own journey with that, how he had congestion for like months and months he couldn't get rid of, what was happening with that. He decided to shift through a variety of ways into more nasal breathing. And it's really about that. So from, this is page 7, when the nasal cavity gets congested, airflow decreases, bacteria flourish. These bacteria replicate. It can lead to infections and colds and more congestion. Congestion begets congestion, which gives us no other option to habitually breathe from the mouth. And so that's definitely a cycle that I think we've all probably kind of gone through, when you have something and you just kind of can't shake it and you're all clogged up and you're just breathing through your mouth, and then it's just can't get rid of it. So he then gets into oxygen, how much more energy it produces for humans and in the natural world than carbon dioxide, right? Aerobic life forms use the boost to evolve, right? Grow larger, more complex, etc., etc. Mammals grew noses to warm and purify the air, throats to guide the air into lungs, etc., etc. And so he talks about what happened, and he calls it disevolution to explain why we're breathing so poorly. For health outcomes, essentially, is what he is interested in. And so for singers, there is a little talk about the larynx. So in case you're wondering, the larynx works as a valve to shuttle food into the stomach and protect us from inhaling it and other objects, right? And for singers, we know that we like to keep the larynx nice and low and released, because if it's high, it will sound tight with the sounds. Anyway, in terms of the questions for reflection, he embarks on an experiment at the end of chapter 1 into chapter 2 on mouth breathing, a mouth breathing experiment where he plugs his nose, only breathes through his mouth for a number of days, something like 10 days or something. It's a lot. And his blood pressure goes up, his cortisol level goes up. He talks about all the poor outcomes, and it's a pretty extreme experiment, actually. So questions for reflection. What is your experience with intentional and conscious breath? Kind of back to what was in the introduction. For me, and look, I just did like a little sigh there of thought. I've been breathing a lot for swimming. I've been swimming in the lagoon this summer. Of course, I breathe for singing. And breathing for sleeping, although that's not intentional. That just happens. But I do try and sleep on my back because my chiropractor told me to. So I am starting to experiment with taping the mouth at night to increase the nasal breathing. But that means I have to actually remember to put it on, and I'm not doing a very good job at that. I'm realizing I don't make a decision to go to sleep. I just drift off, and so that's what I'm dealing with. Second question for reflection. We have these fight, flight, freeze, and now the new one is fawn, old patterns, which are responses to danger, right? And these are from ancient times. So what do we tend to do in what situations, right? And that's a bigger question that maybe gets into like trauma studies and whatnot. But it definitely has to do with breath. So maybe the next time, and there's things that in terms of danger, I mean, there doesn't have to be a huge danger for you to be like, right? Like I just heard, if I heard something crash in the house and I'm the only one home, I'd be like, what's going on, right? So just noticing how our breath shifts when we encounter those little moments of danger. Because right now I know that I'm not going to be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, but I still have reactions from my ancestors from long ago. That is basically chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the experiment. Chapter 3, it gets into the nose and the qualities of the nose and the tissues, and that they can react, and that there's calming agents and there's energizing agents to the various nostrils. And so what I want to finish with is some alternate nostril breathing, which is a breathwork practice, and it's practiced in several cultures. So let's do it. It's a calming one, by the way. I'm going to take fingers 2 and 3 in the world of piano. I'm going to go finger 4 here, thumb here. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in, and then switch, exhale, and then in, switch, exhale. Oh wait, this all has to be done through those. It's all nose breath. In, out. And to do this for I don't know, I did it today for 3 minutes with Jessica. I did it with 2 minutes for 2 minutes with a student, and I definitely felt calmer, and so did the people that I breathed with in this way. So give it a try. I think my dog Cookie needs to check her breath. She's protecting the castle. All good, Cookie. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye.